Dende Beshin Shema Drojongpa Yandakpa Sope Sangi Ripa Don Shatsu Dempa Dewa Shepa Jiten Kepa Kebu Duwe Kamo Dewa Lama Mepa Ladam Minam Kil Pa Sangi Dende Peyawa Shaka Tupa Choselo Chodo Dratsu Chi Tava iten sona la mewa, Rinpoche kyola chakselo. Senyo denpa dreme dewa je, Sayo drowa kyola chakselo. Kyodra sipa somache, Yame kenche kyola chakselo. Kompo tuje denpa, Chamche kempe tonpapo, Sona yuten getso shin, Deshin shela chakselo, Kabe duchak drowagyo, Yewe ngeson le droshi, Chetu denpa chogyo pa, Shigyo chola chakselo, Drone drove la yanto, la vada la tone, Shingi dangwa yudende, Gedu la yang chakselo, Oyepa cheya mejashi, Gewa puson sopakyu, Rangye sene yasudu, Denye sangi tempayin, Amarare Magnetan, Gyoma Zepa Shubudan, Mela Loda Tentabu, Duje Shonam Ditata, Sonam Deya Tamshe Zepaye, Gopam Tole Kyungi Trotute, Gadanama Chiwe La Drupe, Sibe Sela Drowa
Thus I have heard.
At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of Vulture Peak Mountain, with a great gathering of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspects of phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of profound perfection and wisdom, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to follow the practice of profound perfection and wisdom? Thus he spoke, noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahasattva, answered the Venerable Shariputra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The five skandhas should be seen purely in natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors in consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness. Having no characteristics, they are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure nor pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight, and so on, until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so on up to no old age and death, and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of a profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All Buddhas who dwell in the three times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not assaulted. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, this is how Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One rose from that samadhi and said to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, noble Avalokiteshvara, that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. Lama Gampo Je Tsongkapa Yangwa Chaksao Ganye Lodro Drenye Drindra Nye Tarnanda Raselwe Jenye Dokun Jeshin Zikche Nye Toka Lekwanzin Kandak Sipe Sonra Mari Muntong Tonya Gizewe Roso Kula Buchi Kase Yan La Druchu Yan Densum Tuta Chedro Nyumo Nilong Lekir Chandro Drozeching Nari Musel Dunya Nyugu Jinye Chudze Adrina Dune Dachin Sachu Tason Yuten Buzo Yose Tu Chudan Chuni Gentre Dalu Musel Chandel Yamadu Om Ravasana Di Om Ravasana Di Om Ravasana Di Sejen Chudye Chenrabu Sekye Dalu Timon Munpa Rapselme Kanan Tenchu Jenglo Tokpaye Lodro Pobe My Wasel Tu So Lam Rim Chenmo ne Je Tsongkapa Kusum Toki Mandro Sadoso Penso Gele Chewe Trupe Ku Taye Drome Rewa Omeso Mare Shecha Je Sepetu Shake Sowo de la Soate Oje Chenpo de She Projection Jose te lo pada garopa Yajon gambi pada atisha Nyore jila jila soade Shamo tome yene nanjote Chobe juwe de da jobebe Seza kusa lenye senipa Yajen shupe jula soade Jaya yume shoji lodruta Awa jaba rinpe kujote Sanye rungyo papa yaseso Zabo towe jula soade Shadru tempe choga atisha Padam tempe me bodrum tunje Nero namje kuche sunlaso Padam lama namlaso ade Anje shinte suje Tsongkapa Modo ribe wanchu kyasaje Dona tempe dabo ketruje Yose kyupa jela soade Kyapsum kundu lama gorjecha Gala kandu shenye suzone Chodam tumo ngudro suzepe Trenche lama nama soade Raja sura gula tawemi Yazam tapa drupe jumochu Sewe kyupe tawye sevaye Saze shenye nama soade Jewa kundu yanda namada Deme chuji bala lam chuji Sada landi yente ramzoni Dorje changi gopan yurto Chodam sochi chodam la Jancho badu dani yosuchi Lagi chunye jimbe sonamki Drola benche sanje truhasho Chodam sochi chodam la Jancho badu dani yosuchi Lagi chunye jimbe sonamki Drola benche sanje truhasho Chodam sochi chodam la Jancho badu dani yosuchi Lagi chunye jimbe sonamki Drola benche sanje truhasho
As usual, we will be engaging in the practice of cultivating appropriate motivations or positive motivations. So I will not go through the detailed explanation of the cultivation of the motivation, since we all are familiar with it now. So rather, let's think about all the lineage gurus of the Lam Rim, as we supplicated earlier, according to supplication verses, and in their presence, you're here to receive the teachings of the Lam Rim Chenmo. To do that, we need to cultivate appropriate motivations. Thus, we are cultivating appropriate motivations in the presence of all the lineage gurus of the Lam Rim. So, in brief, just try to look at inward instead of looking outward. So try to look at inward and making sure that your mind is actually settled in accordance with the Dharma. So you must cultivate cultivate the motivations. The motivation actually can, induces the happiness of self and others. So it is for this purpose. So although we have been practicing Dharma for a long time, at this particular time, so we will need to cultivate the motivations that from today onwards, we'll be engaging in the practice of the Dharma appropriately, diligently, for the happiness of myself and others, ultimate happiness of oneself and others. For 3 minutes, let's meditate on 3 minutes for cultivating appropriate motivations.
당가서 병원 처가 전전하네. 가서 벌써 유주네. 담비 주 이성조론지 좀 봐서 들어왔다.
Having been cultivated appropriate motivations, on that basis, we're receiving the teachings of Lam Rim Chenmo.
당가서 그게 이게 돈지라네. 랑린도 이제 줄루 시작이네. 로고에서 그 뒤송어서 줄루다 한 줄루도 많이 되겠습니다. 랑린스에 대한 줄루 시작이네. 로고부터 로고에서 정인도.
So normally people consider when receiving the teachings of the Lam Rim Chenmo, you're actually receiving the teachings of the Dharma. It is Dharma based on religion, in other words.
오늘 저는 또 저도 들소가 정말 무슨 세일이 세일이 받소리라디 저기 베빈 남체되나 나는저기 줄루 말했으라고 그랬어. 그래서 아주 줄루 말했으라고 그랬어.
Sometimes some scientists believe the tradition of Nalinda is not a religion; it is a philosophy.
다 되게 아주 카랑으로 돼 방치 되는데 나네. 나랑이 통실이다.
So it's my own feelings. When this philosophy, whatever the philosophy that you have learned and studied, according to the Nalinda traditions, when you make the studies that you have done, you are able to arrange this mentally in an orderly manner, will then become a practice of Dharma.
나중에 줄루세에 내가 시그 지어도 줄루세에 리니어스다. 줄루세나 딱한지 줄루세나 대파지 시작하는 거 돈치로. 또 먼저 줄루 되는 거지 제거스다. 로 파지 비디도 대방 거지 되는 거지.
So now when it comes to the religious belief, there are primarily of two kinds. So most of the religious beliefs are based on a faith, tradition. It is more emphasized on faith.
다 된들이 대방 그런 시작되는 로이 돈에 건축 생기지 개량에 레거에 지차도.
So when it comes to the religious system that is completely based on the faith system, in other words, then this requires a certain, mighty beings right there to whom that you have this, faith.
다 줄루기 대바 영향 속에 건축세대 여바 시작되는 거 개개 따지면 여바 시작되는 지지.
So then for those, there's not much requirement of any analysis, but rather taking for granted of the existence of the mighty beings right there, and mighty beings to whom you have, intense faith.
양 줄루기 돈을 따주던 제인데 이제 시법버생이 이제 캐지는 만에는 문제겠지로. 그래서 쉬는 지 차동인데랑 지지 선제 차동인들이 뒤속인 주가 가르치려서 나도서네 시법버지면은 지금도 세라데 되게 시법버도 거쳐야 생기지 정도와.
So then with this kind of belief system, then there's automatically arises a belief of creator, such as environments, and the beings who are within the environment are actually created by the mighty beings. And those are all related, just faith system will enables you to have this kind of belief.
근데 건축 캐링에 생긴데기로 마속인 집된 차세선을 지지 선체 차세세 때 요 말이었어. 요가ben 돈도 말이었어. 시법과 코론 요가던 로고에서는 시법과 자원인데 되게만 건축세대 따빠 땡시 땡바지 거래 생각을 했습니다.
So then such a mighty beings is believed to be eternal, unchangeable, something that cannot be changed. Although the environments and the living beings within the environments are in the nature of of change. When it comes to the creator, him or herself, the mighty beings, is believed to be eternal. That is something that cannot be changed.
당가 중에 그 남바세그로 남비는 시유디 다 던지기 15%죠 말에 15%인데 다 진제 던지세그로 다 근데 진제 던지 렌제기 전화돼서라고로.
So then when it comes to the Buddhism here, the Buddha Dharma, the practice, the Buddhist religion, in other words, would completely, would not accept, creators, but rather based on the belief of law of cause and effect and dependent originations.
당가 저기 메시레스 딱 말에 소소 자조고는 데를 잡으면 다 대응고는 되네로. 또 제버적으로 가르테서 말. 지들에서는 나오게 두서 배디 이사를 쏘고도 와. 그게 레스는 하랑에 인세 두서 배 이사래서. 다 저희 노저 배제도 네, 아니 쇼동제 걸레들 쏘고.
So now, here the question is, now, it is not that one or another is superior than one another. We cannot say that this one is superior than another one and so forth. But rather, it is time for us to sit on the question and think very carefully. Which one is more effective to one's own mind? So it is time for us to use our own intellect and go through a critical analysis to find which one is right, which one is suitable for one's own mind.
다 레전드스인데 다 레전드스인 경험하시는 게 유연아 또 유명하다고 다 경험하시다 레전드 제일 진짜라 맞죠 랭귀지 배우면서 되는 되게 말이로.
So now here for us we need to analyze and see how, if there is a law of cause and effect, and how it comes to existence, how the law of cause and effect exists, and if there is a life after death, how it could be. And if you think there is a life after death, then we need to think very carefully and see what kind of life that we may desire to have in our future life.
레전드 장면에서는 다 그저 든지기 제이 단위기 근초에 가서 지속해서는 이제 근초에 가서 야 보전에 그래서 녀다스게 무서든 연애지 되는 지 깔레스게 저거 말해. 그래서는 제이 단위기 근초에 가서 누워도 되나요 저시가 말이로. 제이 장원 임바데 지소래도 와. kellemet.
So now here, if we were to believe that we are really created by the mighty beings, or everything that coming into beings are actually created by mighty beings, then there shouldn't be any problems. The mighty being, or you could say a God, who embodies a great compassion. Such a compassionate mighty being is a creator of everything. Then he or she will not create any problems to any beings. However, we all are, we experience ourselves through our own experience. We witness ourselves that how much, problematic situations we are coming across, we are encountering. So it is not to say that those are actually created by the mighty beings, who is actually so compassionate and have a sense of dear and sense of connectedness to us.
당에 단질러와나 얘기 랑린데 따르고는 간저도고 스케치지어로 대파 쭉 잠바 많이 봐 간저도고 생각했지 당가서 동보 알레 주단 제부인 좋아지 켈레고 동보 그러와.
So now what I'm trying to say here is now, when speaking about the Lam Rim Chenmo, the practice of the Lam Rim should not be studied and practiced based on mere faith, in other words. But rather, one need to go to a critical analysis. There is a scope, there is a space of, of engaging in critical analysis when one engages in the practice of the Lam Rim Chenmo, when one is studying the practice of Lam Rim Chenmo and so forth.
Kesi jule togu mena, nuchi ju chuna yana, tendo yoyo pa teguri yana, tendo me kuri. Jule togu mena.
If things are not really coming into being due to its own causes and conditions, if things are not really relied upon the cause, do not dependent upon the cause, then it should be remained, in an unchangeable manner. It should not be changed, or it should not be exist at all. In other words.
Tene nga tsuki nguye nisi la rinchen de drupa tan juwan do dewe nguye nisi rang ro. Ta nga tsuki mitong la zin de chung do ra pa de isi tawa de ro.
So now, however, the things changes, we witness that transience of all things and events. The things are undergoing, various kind of change that is witnessed by all of us.
Ta ju se de ngone khone ju de ndu se ngi na zang ni yo ba ta le yin ju ju se shin ma ge ni de ro. Ju yo ba de khen len sa de ju la zang ni yo me de ju se shin go go ma de.
So once you have accepted there's a causes that give rise to fruition, then there's no it is a certain that there is a cause that is positive, there's a cause that is negative.
Kare se na yana kati yu no sombo chonjo yung gori yang kati ni ngempa chonjo yung gori ro. Ko ka se na zang ni yo me wa yin na ya bo yin ba gori du cha yin ba.
Something that is unchangeable, something that cannot be changed, is something that is eternal, then if it is positive, then it should remain positive all the time. If it is a negative, it should remain negative all the time, at all time. However, it's not so.
Ta zangye de rebu zangye de ju zangye ki jenpa chego yeso na ta lenge ji ma pe ren be ro.
So now, since the positive and negative result is actually coming into being due to the positive or the negative causes and conditions, then we need to think further.
Ta nga su tandi ji je ji xia ji ro. Ta tandi shi de tanda nga su ko su bo ba ka re sa do ma lang ri sa so na ji bi chen ri chung so ki chu go ro.
So here, when speaking about the practice of the Lam Rim, actually primarily, divided among three different scopes, right? The small scopes, middling scopes, and the great scopes.
Ta de no la nga so tanda sa cha ga la de de sa na ji bi chung ni ki je bu ngo de chen de ro. Ta de ro mi le de to yin sa ji bi chung ni ki ru sha ki je bu ta nga so tanda long xue xie ba ro.
So now for us, what kind of result that we may have at this point, which scopes that we belong to, we could, unhesitantly say that we are actually accomplish a result of the small scope.
Ta nga so ki tandi ji je ji xie de nga ta da kan de chen de he se se je xi ji ja da ro.
So now then one can ask the questions, how I have been able to accomplish such a stage, which is the result of small scope.
Sen de ji pa ma ni ji contract zang ji de nga de he xia de be se la wa le ge yin be ta ale tong.
So then should we accept that my existence or being born in this world is mere the substances of the father and mother?
Ta je ba je le ro. Ta nga se de 파마잉 할라 뒤에데 또 다대로 맞아 이제 컨트롤돼서 이대로 다 샤드 타 리파 가운데서 이제 가지 샤단 뒤에 풍부대로 다 대치고 있는 내가 제제래도
So then now let's think about, when speaking about I am born here, I'm born in this, human existence and so forth. So now think about, is the body that you have, which is composed of, bones, blood, and flesh, is this I or me? So we need to really to take a time to analyze carefully how this I or the self actually coming into being. Where is the self or I?
다 샤타인 뒤비 풍부 델레신바기 나시지 풍부 생기지 마샤 천체라 백강이 베트 체드로 하다.
So since we know that our aggregates, the physical aggregates, is an accumulation of blood and flesh and so forth. So since we are able to establish, since we are establishing those our physical aggregates is composed of those two elements, blood and the flesh, then there's no other ways that we would not actually accept what we call the aggregate of consciousness.
나 줄로 있으나래 다 간난쪽에 따로 있으나래 세리 빠니까지 풍부 네 손에 제윤디로 와 단다지 풍부 단다 샤단 네가 상래 인이 네바지야버데 줄로 차토고 내가 나시세도 타니데 세리 빠기 단다 타니 제금도 와.
So now, but if you really think very carefully, when it comes to the self or I actually exists apart from our physical aggregates. Although scientists would not actually conclude it or the brave enough to say there's a aggregate of consciousness, they still know that there's something really there apart from our physical aggregates when it comes to the existence of the self or I. So let's think about now, if we know that there's a I or the self, if there's something that exists apart from our physical aggregates, then where is this? Where is this self or I that really exists?
딱 gend르기 네바텔라 마소 나추네 시바세나로 로직이 통로에 저 하마 쟁에 딱 줄루켈레메 계셔만 뭐 쉬우지 해윤디로 와. 저 하마 생에 패치 맞아는 메딩인지 줄루 계셔 마시에 이 뒤수질에 해도 그라 해 유여를 성우도.
So now when we think about there's something that makes self exist apart from physical aggregates, then this will lead you to understand, what we call the continuity of consciousness. Continuity of consciousness is a potency of giving rise to one, life to another life. In other words, one self to another self.
든든히 나시 생에지 저항하면 심한데 롱해요나. 나서 매지고 있나다 매신은 먼저 줘버려. 나서 노동 나zel라 던도다 무슨 순정 나서 왜네 지통돼 되러. 그거 좋아해야지. 또 든든 먼저 와서 로고는 먼저 와서 가리지는 로고 말해서 소소 좋아 거예요.
그래서 이게 딱 다시 좀 말씀드리겠습니다.
나 나시 생에지
맞습니다.
야거버지. 로 요나. 나 원하데 가만히 되면은 다시 제만 로고로. 제만 로고고야나 든든히 로서 먼저 와 여반데 나서기 다 나서 매일 해내거나 든든히지. 근데 무슨 생각이 가서 왜 내세를 통해 선생 일이지도 와. 또 든든히 먼저 와 로고에나 가려운 게 먼저 와 로고래. 생이 좋아야 돼. 나서려고도 와.
So if there is a consciousness of previous consciousness and future consciousness and so forth, then where does consciousness will take place, and how this consciousness transfer from one place to one existence to another existence. Talking about speaking about the human consciousness. From one consciousness, transferring from one consciousness to another consciousness. And similarly, we could see all kind of animals, and even down to the insects, they all possess consciousness. And all their consciousness will transfer one life to another life.
다 되게 만나오지 너는 만나올 때 가려 원게 로고를 쓸어 요데 네. 다 매일이 있을 야 저거는 다 알레 같은 게야. 맞아. 그 시제는 가서 다와도 되는 거만 돈로세 때 줘 저거로 이제 된뒤에 선제면다 넘바데 좀만다와 연구여서나 당가서 제만 로고나 주의제마도 로고로.
So since all of those different form of life are actually caused by its own causes and conditions, it's coming into being due to its own causes and conditions, such as human life, animal lives, and so on and so forth. So now, if the result is completely coming into being due to its own causes and conditions, then it is for us to think further to accumulate better causes and conditions to give rise to a better result.
되게 쇼도 제외디 내 깨쳐 가르치고 얼서서나 저 한번 이게 맞죠? 저 한번 견책이 떼지리 이날에 때 뭔가지로 쇼도 제야나 가지 몇개 주봉이 출연해서 봐 년에제 이 저사발을 때네 근데 맞죠? 단다게 내 밀리데 탈샤서 내 쇼도 되자고.
So here what I'm trying to really to present here is now I'm trying to present here that the human life endowed with leisure and fortune at this point is a result of observance of the 10 virtue sections of one's past life. It is due to the observance of 10 virtuous activities, virtuous actions of the past life. We're able to have this human rebirth.
집에 중에 맞죠? 시대 집에 중에 데려 로 매개 주봉기 수준 영선에 나 아니 좋아하시면 하다 매일 거고 다 그래서 단단 가서 매일 거고도 돼 저하마라 아니 진재기 영어도 로도 전에 저 정보질에 되는 로도 정보질에나 코 리피지에서 도서.
So when it comes to the training the mind in the stages of the path shared with the person of the small capacities, it is the primary practice of the person of small capacity is to observe 10 virtuous actions and abandon the 10 non-virtuous actions. As a result, then one will be able to have a rebirth in the higher realms. That is the primary, practice of the small capacities.
technique 가르쳐 줘서는 정문은 제 대중이 양양 손도 가서 学习的인지 미지 리피 제라잖아. 로 쇼노지게 뭐 왔지. 인지 미지 다제 제야당. 진세시네. 대시전에. 가서 딱 구두 제벌送的. 이게 선세시고.
So as His Holiness has always mentioned that whenever we are studying Dharma or explaining Dharma or teaching Dharma to others, one must do so based on sound reasonings. One's explanation must be, based on reasonings instead of based on mere faith and belief.
근데 내가 러드에 말을 때다 저기 남비기 또 휴전태서는 진짜는 저도 저는 요요지 말이. 당가로 계속 시도 전에 저는 도메시아도 우리지 진짜지야지는 저 다들 계속 해야 돼. 남비기 따로 휴전도 나와이나. 그게 되는 저는 해서 매라다. So
this is explanation why I always do. You may think that the reason why all those the explanation that I've given earlier are not really in accordance with the Buddha Dharma, because I talked about a lot of things and reasonings and so on and so forth. not talking about importance of having faith and so forth. You may think that is not, I'm not talking according to the Buddha Dharma. This is not so, because Buddha Dharma is said to be practiced, the combination of both faith and reasonings. In fact, the reasoning is emphasized more than the practice of Buddha Dharma.
다 가지 지지 말에 시인제 되는 지지 선제 용수 줘봐도 진짜기 때문에 생활지는 로고야나 라니라 진짜 때문에 일단 주의게 통통 찾아야 자인자 그것도 생각도.
So we need to take an opportunity as long as we know that all environments and the sentient beings within the environments are coming into being due to its causes and conditions. So since this is the case, then it is time for us really to think about, what kind of causes and conditions what we need to create to have a better result.
되게 리파사나 또나学生的 zambushula 都有帮助去，这通错不多，去给什么需要呢？
So if we were able to apply such a reasonings, then even if one is not considered oneself as a Dharma practitioner, but you are actually going through a right direction.
오늘 저랑 일을 지금 진짜 મને 진짜 제시한 거 대해서 મને 지금 진짜 랭귀비에 이게 주야 돼 진짜 저도 땡키 버려서라나 줄로도 돼서 자금 재소. 단다 지금 중이게 나오냐서래 지금 뭐도 제가 진짜 저도 제거였나? 아니 대비원이 다 남아지기 맞는 문제게 예다기 맞는 중에 제일 참아서 줄로 캐는 게 제거게 줄로 캐만은 게 제목은 게 참아서.
So now here if you think about everything coming into being due to its own causes and conditions, such as one's own the human rebirth is said to be the result of the practice of the person of small capacities, then they does not necessarily be the religious believers in the practice of it, or it doesn't really necessarily be the religious practitioners. Primarily we're talking about what kind of cause. As long as you have this kind of cause, then its result is inevitable. The result was coming into being. So we're talking about the cause. If you have certain cause, and this will give rise to the certain result. So that doesn't necessarily be a religious belief or religious practice, right?
아버도 매개 주봉이 주주성이 제는 저와 심화바 유쇼다 신디기 춘퇴지 제가 제나 춘퇴디기 제가 되게 춘퇴기 맞하고요. 와.
So here, observance of the 10 virtuous actions and abandoning 10 non-virtuous the 10 non-virtuous actions not only will give rise to happiness in one's future life, it will give rise to happiness in this life as well. When speaking about abandoning 10 non-virtuous actions, we are basically speaking about follow the rules and regulations of the country where you are living. So if you are following the rules and regulations of the country, the law of the country, then you will be happy, isn't it?
집에 중게 주거데 쉬든지 때 말이 저 맞다. 저와 심한데 저와 대니까는 મને 돈에게 니파도 그 회치지 잘라지 레도 왔어.
So nowadays, if you think about the practice of the small capacity, is needed for both this life and as well as the future life.
근데 기타지 제대로 와서 뭐네지 소소 이천 소소이 간제 소소 야고 차고로.
So what is emphasized here is to practice of small capacity, is to be yourself in a better person.
소소 야고 차나 아니 로봇 야고 차 아니 대기 로봇은 정도 뭐 찾을 수도.
If you are able to be yourself, become yourself a better person, then your quality of the positive quality that you have can influence, your friends, and then their friend will influence other friends and so forth. So this is how we can create a better world, becoming ourselves as a human being a better person, better people.
지당에 단대시바도 초좀 희어지 시바 말이야. 그 잘라들만 모든 연주 뭐 쉬고 주여거든. 아 쉬도 지자이나. 야 맞아. 잘라 맞아서 연주 기타에 이제 샘플을 소화해야죠. 대소리지.
So although whatever the explanation that I've given is not unfamiliar with all that I know for sure. However, this is something that is helpful to kind of reminding us once again to think about. To remind you all how we can think ourselves and to become a better person.
맞아. 얘기 라마게 소송선이 찍어도 봐도 많이 봐. 근데 라니 조사게 랑가지 소속이 리피트는 제투도.
It's not only that following the one's on teacher. This is what my spiritual teacher has said. And this is what the Guru has said. But rather, one should analyze one's own self, and one should take a time to go through a critical analysis of whatever the teachings that is taught by the Guru.
양 대파진의 전에 주루진은 로저에 말스 깨져 말이로 대파 코는 장기 나가는 거네. 그 맞다 대다 대바 대는 영화 샤워 영화 전에 그 오늘 돈에 수준 필수서 받는 전에 account 들어와. 일을 제바스게 맞잖아요. 또 아미 송바신데 냐네 전에 account 들어.
Here I'm not saying again you should not follow whatever the teachers taught. I'm not saying that you should not have a faith. What I'm saying here is you need faith, but based on faith you need critical analysis. In other words, your practice must be done on the basis of both faith and analysis, or the reasonings.
나보다는 잠들리는 뭐 전부 뭐 쇼지 맞아 줄고 이제다로 그 오늘 돈에게 뭐 세대 준소는 셔저싱에 가디는 정론지 되라다고도 된다는 게 봐도 그거도.
However, when there are many beings who are great just by following their faith tradition. They are, it is, there are a lot of beings who are wonderful, even though they are not going through all those kind of critical analysis and their belief system is based on sound reasoning. But mere faith again, for them, faith and their belief is always praise a lot of those other religious practitioners, non-Buddhist religious practitioners, how diligent they are based on their own faith system, and how wonderful they are, how helpful they are to other beings, so on and so forth. So it is again here, when I'm saying that one's faith must be based on reasoning, it is not required for all beings. There are beings who are more suitable for having a faith alone and to practice their own religious system, religious tradition.
내가 지금 시골에도 내가 지금 세그러 왔다. 정론지 때도 가자 그거 통통으로. 지금 오늘 전에 랑가로도 니도 이 메시지 말하면서 군초 공부 총거리세는 매마시게 그런 친구 컨트롤이 매매게 주보는 게 메시지 친구 거기도. 당시 메시지요 말은 같이 와시면 예손 제거를 때 같이 진생 카카레마도 로사랑같이 있는 거기도.
So let's talk about refraining from engaging in taking the life of others. In other words, killing others. There one tradition, which is mostly a faith tradition, would say that if I should not engage in such an action because this will, displease the mighty beings, and then you're actually refraining from engaging in such a such a negative actions. This is really wonderful, and then in a Buddhist, the Buddhist practitioners would say, I should not engage in such actions because I will have this consequence in my future life. So you're actually thinking about your own, karma, the result of karma that you may have in the future. So although both of them, their method of abandoning such actions are different, but in reality, they are both not engaging, they are both refraining from engaging in such actions, right?
This the jubi chungi ko so sana tong de ro ta jinje dang lian ko so jinje sana tong ne jinse da de me de je ba je bu do ma so ji chu lu ge cha me xie ba je ne je ba jing jing na.
So if you think about the practice of the small capacities, person of small capacities here, this practice of small capacities emphasize solely on the law of cause and effect, and engaging in observing the 10 virtuous actions and abandoning 10 non-virtuous actions.
Telo la ale tong jubi chungi ge lang ka re ju ja ka re de xie bo ro me ge ju gong ge chu chun de nyang se ne de jubi chungi ge lang ga ro de re ani jiao shi ma ta da me ko bong de jubi chungi ge ju ja de re ta de ni jin je go na ka ne de wa cha ge do se de je ba.
So when speaking about the practice of the small capacity, the person of small capacity, you need to know about what is the path of the practice of small capacity, and having followed the path, what will be accomplished by means of embarking upon those paths, right? So then, when speaking about that, then the practice of observing the 10 virtuous actions and abandoning 10 non-virtuous actions are said to be the path of the practice of the person of small capacity, and accomplishing the rich the life of life within the fortunate realms is said to be the accomplishment of the path followed by the path of the person of small capacity.
Nge jugun ring ko la je je de ba ji xie ni ga zo ka sa no re ma je se do bi ta ta ba sa de ja.
So let's take a break here, and then we will go to the practice of the person of medium capacity.
So je me do zhang ye zhao lin xie nian de jian bo de sang jie xin du min de de wa yi zhou ge nong do xin la zhe bo zhou ye dong gu ru min zhe lang guan de yang da yang mi 아, 됐으면 좋겠어. 뭐 단계에 동시에는 이제 됐어요. 동보로. 당원은 가서 얘기가 다지 주분 전에 랑냥스에 돼. 네 대파상지만 봐야 가서 다 리피트 주지 진짜 시작했네. 좀 좋은도 그래서는 이제 당원은 주분 전에 간다고 그래서 아니나.
So now, how can we really engage in the practice in accordance with the practitioner of medium capacity by following the reasonings?
지당한데 되는데 최대 시질은 제방에 이제 미지 건조성이 이제 쏘았다네 선발로 천원지 해고거든. 요. 이 지고래 이 장발에 제바전에 시지도 해보 차야 돼. 가보 인사래.
So here for us, we really need both faith and as well as the reasonings, because for us, in order for us to have a very, the feelings of desire of engaging in the practice needs a faith as well. So that is not to say again, faith alone is sufficient.
주생에 대한 총박이 잘란 저게 저와나 짬바져도 와이나 라지를 배금도.
So then again, here the teachings of the Dharma or the explanation of Dharma, it's just explain, keep explaining and demonstrating, just like we are demonstrating some kind of, advertisement, or some merchants, you are demonstrating about the merchants and so merchandise. So this will again would not be helpful either. So one need to, think about how one can really reach to the reality, how one's way of thinking can really correspond to reality. This is how we need to, how one should engage in the practice, how one should approach the practice of the Buddha Dharma. So then when you go through those analyses and think about how your way of thinking and your way of practice really correspond to reality, then you will be able to, conclude that is how it is. And then you'll be able to discover the reality of how things are. And when you are able to discover how things really are, then this will take you further. And who really taught how to find such a reality? Then when you ask these questions, then you ultimately ask the question of the teacher who taught this, the finding of reality. Then when you further, analyze this and think about the teacher who actually taught the finding of this reality, then you will have, automatically generate a faith in the teacher who actually taught this, teachings of the reality. So then you will become amazed and, encouraged by those teachers who actually taught according to reality. And then when you come to these questions, then you will be able to have a faith in Buddha Shakyamuni, who actually taught the teachings, who actually taught the Dharma. And then the followers of the Buddha Shakyamuni, such as great Indian masters, such as Nagarjunas and so forth, will then, it is, if you look at this, how your analysis lead to reality. And the finding of the reality leads to the faith. So this is how it goes when it comes to the practice of Dhamma. So this is how you should have a faith based on reasonings, understanding, in other words, based on reasoning and understanding. So we always know at this time, entire human beings, we are actually, amazed by those great scientists, isn't it? Now the great scientists, there are many great, honest great scientists, non-biased great scientists would always say that, scientists has already came to this world 2,500 years ago. So they think that Buddha Shakyamuni is one of the earliest scientist.
그 가서 남빙원에 따서나 가서게 점바리 근조리 정도리 자살에 근데 슐로는 캡한테 경원들에 따루마 되게 강사 치바 진지에서는 몬철 라다데 나도요 소도 따루마 제스 만종인데 다 모바일은 로고 말마다 예반 로고에 지지로.
So during the offering of long life prayers to His Holiness last time, and there are many who actually make an offering of the Buddha Shakyamuni's image, the statue of Buddha Shakyamuni. And His Holiness was so pleased with that. He said that if you look at, if this statue is looked by other practitioners who would have a faith in this teacher, the founding teachers, Buddha Shakyamuni, if it is looked by some other scholars, such as scientists and so forth, will look at this as a, the image of the great philosopher and great scientist. So that is really, His Holiness was really pleased by, the offering of Buddha Shakyamuni, a lot of Buddha Shakyamuni statue at that time during his, long life prayers.
The Jinsen Karizan Nasuki Kodebushianaroa. The Jongon Chiki, but the Jata Kapa Shuichin, but the Ziwar.
So His Holiness, always look at his Buddha Shakyamuni as one of the great physicians.
Sinjenta da nepa tomoyi bazigor.
No.
Sinjenta se nepa tomoyi bazigor.
And looking at his Buddha Shakyamuni as a great physician, and looking at all sentient beings as a patient, right?
Da data shu tse da dembi kepaji zi ni nepa tse da tomogi nepa chi zi na nepa da data de la ten yi rewa shu chimbo yo ro ten ro jana sambi. Da di ti de jo tu go ma da. Ma to nambi ta du pe ke chamane.
So it's only
Member the nepa pe ja na pe ko de bo.
So you can, His Holiness would look at all sentient beings as a patient, and then Buddha Shakyamuni as a great skilled physician. And now his hope is to now, how wonderful it would be, those patients would actually rely upon the teacher, such as Buddha Shakyamuni and so on. That doesn't necessarily mean all of the people in this world should become a Buddhist. This is not the case at all, but rather really to follow how things really are, how the teachings of how things really are. This is, how the Buddhist, His Holiness's intent is.
Teaching also Kajin Ero, Nagudusan, Pemba the Kepa Shuja, telling about the Teltans and Roshuas and Nansachi in Ichimijin Agro.
So it's just like someone who knows a very, skilled physician, and if one of our relatives or the friend who is ill, then you will recommend that great physician. In the same manner, His Holiness is actually recommending us to, rely upon good physicians.
This 오늘 다 기본 드린데 단대 기본 드린기 추고대 대피 전라 마인 바 대피 전라 간데에서는 조정할 좋아지는 게 적으로.
So now how can it if someone asks a question, how can this practice of this practice such shared with the person of middle capacity? The person of middle capacity is done on the basis of the sound reasonings. How can we engage in this practice based on reasonings?
대체. 다 딜내 저를 동봉 가서 주변 저기 랑 가르래. 주변 저기 타고에 이제부터 가르래.
So to answer this question, then we need to know what is the path of the middling capacity, the person of middling capacity, and what is the result as a result of following the path of the middling capacity, the person of middling capacity.
다 시바촌 시비촌에 있는 연중이 삼바리 다이촌에 다음에 비타와대로 다 랑가제와이나.
So if you look at from the perspective of the conduct of the middling capacity, the conduct of the middling capacity is said to be the practice of renunciations. Practice of renunciation is the conduct of the middling capacity, the person of middling capacity, and the philosophical standpoint is the philosophical standpoint of the selflessness.
다 연주 되니 레도 계셔 세워다. 시에디 아니 단단가 주변 중에 저부터 터도여다 띵지기도에 좋아들려 그래 다로. 단단가 주변 중에 랑 냐선에 발에 때네 터비에 하유 메이 고본데 터도에 띵지기도에. 주부충이. 주부충이니 가르데 주자 주비 메이 고본데 터에 띵지기도에.
So now here the next question now is should I be contented by the result that I have accomplished by means of engaging in the practice of small capacity? Is this something that is satisfying for us? Will you be consider this as something that is ultimate accomplishment?
마타 마시베잖아. 리기도 너도 가보라. 마타 마시잖아. 리기도 그래.
So if we do not analyze carefully and examine carefully, one may think that is enough. This may be, it is satisfying result that I have. One may say that.
소소 아미 코본에 제네 단다바들라 내당도 오지 선은 동선에 땡기바 제초에 말해.
However, if you really think carefully, right from the birth, that you have given birth by we have given birth by our own mother, and up until now, we really did something that is really satisfying, something that really leads to the ultimate state of happiness. Have you ever done something that really leads to happiness?
단다카투 선은 동안에 단다는 가서 지 거비 손이지 마도 지 차비 손이지 진에 말이지 이러와 마 차비 손이지 마도.
If you really look at carefully, and you will see that we still need more, and that you are never rich in the sense that now I'm done, everything that I have is enough. We have never reached in such stage. We always look for something more, which entails that, which actually demonstrates you are not satisfied with what you have right now, your own accomplishment. Even if you were to, die after, a couple of minutes, you're still hoping for something else. Your hope and desire for something else is still there. So this is the reality. It's a fact. It's not a dharma talk. It's just it's a matter of fact. No. So then what really makes us unsatisfying all the time? Then when you ask such questions, then you think about the causes and conditions. What causes us to become unsatisfying and uncontented all the time?
다니게 이제 힘은 뭐제 말이 가제 매대 간일해야 되시셔야지 낭시도 토마 간일해야 되지 토미 말이 바 일해봐서야 돼 만조진 저라 다니 가서 토마 미 주변 지역에 하다 미 거한테 된 아미 콘트롤에 신비 낭시데 근데 아미 콘트롤로 소 당월에 세계시셔야지 토미 말이 내년기 땅에 세계시셔고라.
So now here we talked earlier about our body. The physical body is composed of blood, flesh, and bones that is coming into being due to the combination of the substance of the father and mother. And then what really makes this physical, aggregates life, alive, is then when you talk about the life of those physical aggregates, then we are talking about the consciousness and how the consciousness actually entered into the substances of father and mother. And then when you ask, when asking such questions, then the consciousness is the one that actually enters into the substances of father and mother, and consciousness too given rise by maripa or avidya or the ignorance. So now what we have to really target, we need to set a target to really get rid of the cause that makes us unsatisfying. The unsatisfying cause, the ultimate unsatisfying cause is our own karma and delusions, our afflictions. Those are the two one need to get rid of. So then we talked about karma and its effect, and we talked about law of cause and effect. So now those can be considered as the understanding based on reasonings, cause and effect, and karma, and so forth. Karma and its result. Now, when you speak about the klesha or the delusions or afflictions, is these afflictions can be explained and demonstrate afflictions based on reasoning or based on faith?
Lendre di chada jendre ki chahiro. Lendre ina jendre imbe jendre ina lendre ingo marwa. Sengi tingi pacha chija pacha de jela pinyo ita lendre se lagro.
So the karma and its result, and then cause and effect are not actually synonymous, right? There's a difference, if every cause and effect cannot be a karma. Of course, the karma and its effects are cause and effect, but every cause and not necessarily every cause and effect can be a karma.
다 nyumose de ngobi nesi kareche na ngobi nesi rete de ngobi nesi jin mare selawa ina ro ngobi nesi jin mare te chulu ge tuta dotare ma do ngobi nesi ne mare la na karel ne jog sar chita ko ta to mo so.
So now if you were to say that the klesha or the delusion or the mental afflictions is not a reality, it is not a fact, and it is just mere, the belief of the religious system, belief of the religious tradition. If we were to say that, if someone said this to us, then what kind of question, or what kind of answer that we may, we should have a ready-made answer for this, right? This question may arise. Delusion or the mental afflictions are said to be not a fact. It doesn't really correspond to reality. It is just mere belief of the religious tradition. So what kind of answer that we may give to this? So now, to answer these questions, then one need to analyze. But when you analyze, we do not need to think about anything outside. We can analyze within ourselves. We can prepare this answer within ourselves by analyzing your own self. So we all have innate sort of feeling of self and others, and me and you. So we have these feelings within us. It is an innate feeling that within us. This is presented in all of us. So now, what is important for us here is to now look at the way you actually comprehend self and others. Your object of mode of apprehension of self and others really correspond to reality or not. That is the most important part to analyze.
So, Tommy Mariba Senere dancing Mariba singing it, and so zing it, that's also zing segura. That can dancing Mariba singing it, and can't down the zingre, get a shade.
So when we talk about the ignorance of self-grasping mind, so what is meant by the ignorance of self-grasping mind? How the self-grasping mind actually, comprehend the self. So when you comes to this analysis, then we are actually analyzing the self, how the self exists, where the self is. The self that we always think about, self that can be pinpointed. So if we were to ask to look for some object that you have lost in your own home, then we have to go through all those doors and looking everywhere to find that particular object, right? The particular object that you're looking for, by sorting through all kind of things that are not an object that you are specifically targeted to looking to find, and you're just going through, and then finally you're able to find one object that you are actually looking for. For us, when speaking about the self or I, at the moment that you open your eyes in the morning, you take it for granted that the self is already there. I am there, me is right there. And as if that me or I can be pinpointed. This is the innate feeling that we all have with regard to ourselves.
That's it.
So, however, if you go through, then you try to, find where the self is, the self that you always think somewhere right there, exists intrinsically, right there. So if you really go through and sort through your part of your body, beginning from tip to toe, you look at, and you will not be able to find the self or I within our psychophysical aggregate or the part of our psychophysical aggregates. With having not found, you still have some kind of sense of self. There's something somewhere there. So here, the body is not you. It is clear, isn't it? Because if you think that body is myself, then it actually contradicts to our daily language, the term itself. Because my body, so there's a possessed and possessor. So your body is not you at all. So it is clear that your body is not you. Witnessed by our own term itself, my body. So when you say my body is not me. So there are many who accept the consciousness is said to be the self. But however, if you go through a critical analysis, the consciousness too is not a self.
싸워지 농 투쇼도 다 간제 로아 차부 쉬위진 전에 되게 로로 맞아와잖아 내가 뭐 보지 될 때는 걸로 쓴데 왜 세보 차고
However, not finding ultimate self, you are not being able to really to understand where the self really exists. That really indicates that something is gone wrong there. Why we are not being able to understand the existence of ourselves.
나 아니 가세도 진은 명예제에서는 진은 명예 말에 초랑이 제만하게 만들라고 하더라.
Then here the question is now, when speaking about unfindability of the self, that doesn't really entails the self does not exist. We're not talking about the non-existence of the self. We are talking about self does not, we're talking of the a self, non-existence of the self is a self that you actually, that we ordinary beings, apprehends or the comprehends.
초랑이 가요 봐 산시대 강라 마테베 링해가지 산시대래 카이시는 마시나. 근데 강라 마테베 링해가지 민두 때는도 세치 존예 수준도 메덴바진도 세들.
So now it is for us when speaking about the self, instantly we have the feeling with regard to the self is the self that exists concretely, independently, without depending upon any other factors. This is the kind of self that we always, our understanding of self. However, this kind of self does not exist. Having said that, again, here is that we're not talking about the self does not exist. We're not rejecting the existence of the self. The existence of the self is mere dependent. And self does exist, but the way of its existence is a dependently existence, an imputedly existence.
다들이 하세나래 나시세나 시리데 초랑이 랑가 로바키 잡아놓으면 주네. 나바나마 가디네 양생에서 주네 되는 시리데 진짜 세지금은 도스 란신진의 통치금은 도스들이.
So it is due to our ignorance always put us in the murky pool and not being able to free ourselves from the murky pool and the bondage and not letting us to really to see the how self really exists.
그 란신 ngoi 세차랑래 로아. 딱 가서 춘이 ngoi 내더래. 딱 주소주 쭉 간대지나요. 춘이 ngoi 내버데 춘이들만 통하던 배든 나고요 보도 주셔야 인산 강력한가 되는 책을 레시 나고데 세는 사마세보 차베 내가 아니 타바터세 그래 나고를 찜벌 줘버려.
So in fact that everything exists on the basis of suchness or the thusness. And however, we are unable to see that attributes. We are unable to see that suchness or thusness that exists in everywhere. We are unable to see that because those suchness or the thusness or the reality are, actually covered by darkness of ignorance. We can only see the suchness or the reality or the thusness. It's only when you clear the darkness of ignorance. Everything's an event that exists are all mirage-like and dream-like. So we are, although all of those things are dream-like and mirage-like, it is due to our ignorance we are unable to see all of those things as a dream-like or the mirage-like. So everything that exists are dependently existent. And everything, the actions such as functions and so forth are all coming into being due to dependent upon its other factors.
근데 따지 제디 소소저 추 간리지 통나요. 그런 건 여바지 통데 슈초로 러샤고. 찔레 때네 여바레 설어윤디 차제 가리는 거 두고.
So then when you comes to understanding of everything that exists are depending upon others, when you have such ideas, the mere having those ideas will loosen the grip of, looking at things as a solid existence or the intrinsic existence.
차제 가요디 레사이드 가요.
When you're able to, stop the aversion and attachment, will then stop the, prevent oneself from, accumulating negative karma.
레세드 가요나 대용이 이제 제비니 가르사 다 간제 사전 영원히 비풍보데 가요.
So if one is able to, prevent the accumulation of negative karma, then this will, prevent the having ordinary, psychophysical aggregates.
사전 영원히 비풍보데 가오디 사메기 고코로라라 대초데 니 시와 냥데생이지.
So when you're able to prevent oneself from taking rebirth with this ordinary psychophysical aggregates, well then enables one to have sangme, which is the uncontaminated psychophysical aggregates, will enables one to have enjoy in the peace of nirvana.
딱 그제 로 텐데다 다음에 버생이디. 요 되게 쇼들은 세리법에 텐서 사이 돼서 렌더스고다. 뼈탄이 볼렌더라고도. 로 텐데에서 찔레 텐여레 세지로. 마템바지 요마레 세지. 그제 동번이 따이 쇼세나리 타니스케 제거면나요. 지 응은이지 텐데 생애들 양세제기. 대슈지 렌더스고다.
So this the idea
of
dependent originations or the dependence are really now, appreciated even by the non-Buddhist scholars. Even the great scientists now, they begin to appreciate this, the idea of dependent originations or the dependently existence.
되게 좀 세리버 쇼들라도 쇼 되게 인파 계시 말해라. 되게 손이 뼈고 코쇼 그래도 그거 가서 그 유비네 시대 템바지 네바던 로고도.
So I'm not comparing, the scientists with the Buddhist, practitioners or whatever. This is not what I'm into, because this is, how those great intellects are having an understanding of, having, begin to appreciate the teachings of the Buddha, particularly when it comes to the dependent originations or dependently existence.
딱 간정은 저기 다음에 비 따왔을 때 응비네슬 내면에서 이 진짜 쪼도 가르토고선 땡데기 걸 관련 그래라다. 내가 될 두고다.
So now here, the key point here is now, when speaking about Dhamma Bitawa, the view of selflessness. View of selflessness, how we could say that view of selflessness really correspond to reality. It is a fact. How can we really, claim that view of selflessness is said to be the corresponding view of, selflessness very correspond to reality? It's a question of idea of dependent originations. If you're able to understand the dependent originations on dependently designated or dependently existence, will lead yourself to, have a deepened insight into the view, the perfect view of selflessness.
내가 대인당은 저기 기본 전이 이 기본 전이 랑데 repeat generally me 따지져서데 다음에 배다할 두고래 예스라.
So whether or not that's the middling capacity, the person of middling capacity, practitioner of the middling capacity's path can be based on reasoning or not is depend upon the view of selflessness. If you know that view of selflessness is based on reasonings, then the path of the practitioner of the middling capacity is based on reasoning. So today we will stop here with this today. So we are all, so that today the explanation that I have given here is more to what I would call is analytical explanations mostly, and because those kind of analytical explanation is needed, and we need to understand those to analyze ourselves, to become ourselves as a better person. Because without going through a critical analysis, and just by wishing to be a better person may not become a better person, individual will not become it. To become ourselves as a better person, we need to go through analysis. How we can become a better person? What really makes us better persons, and so forth. So by means of the virtue that we have doing the power, during the dedication years, by means of the virtue that you have accumulated by following the unmistaken path shown by the great teachers, great teacher of Buddha Shakyamuni and his followers, such as great masters of India, by means of those virtues, may all beings, oneself and all other beings, be able to achieve happiness and overcome suffering. Let's also take an opportunity to think about that a lot of people is undergoing tremendous amount of suffering in the different countries due to the battle and war. It's just, unbelievably going through sufferings. So we are not experiencing that kind of, problem here in this country. But if you think about those countries, think about that. If we were to in that place, what kind of feeling that we may have. So let's take this opportunity to remember all those victims and those who have lost in those war and those who are wounded in such terrible wars and so on, and remember them and then dedicate our virtues and merits towards all of those beings.
Sanje shendo mende bewa ye dogen nanda shena shoba yo nando yanda lama dan jene cheje bela lan cheche Sadon Lanju Yunde Rozuni Doji Chongge Gobon Yundoju Rana Nende Naga Nayan Dayani Dene Soni Ne Kada Yamba Kashi Sabade Lomi Mare Gedon Jawan Nonjen Jaye Ombo Dajuji Demo Sende Sero Gendo Yang Jambe Yang Seve Jezone Tenbe Rinpo Gensan Nanje Cho Nyene Zhubi Jena Nishe Sho Rangi Jizhen Tobi Nanje Ne Zebe Zhangye Dage Zhe Zhuye Ye Zhe Mianba Se Xie Ne Jia Tenpa Yu Ren Zin Ju Ji Tenpa Ren Chen Choge Ma Cha Ba Cha Jia Nyang Ba Ju Be Shu De Ne Ni Ji Chen Bu Ye Ra Ju Ba Ye Bin De 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 Se Wa Xie Ba Shu Se Jin Jia Yue Mi Zhong Chen Le 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 Du Shang Chu Nang Zhe Rin Bie Zhang Tang De Nang Zhe Ye Lan Be De Xin Jia Yuan Zi Ba Rin Du Zhong Ju Ji Lang Zang Zhu Bie Tian Jian Zhu Xie Ji Xie Xie Mu Dang Mi Mi Gun Cai Ra Gun Du Jia Ye Nga Ba Yi Nang Da Lang Dang Zhe Wa Ma Ju Ji Gang Zi Te Ba Chu La Chu Chu Ji Ci Xin Zhu La Zun Ba De Yue Zi Tu De Nang Ji Da Du Zhu Xi Jin Zha Xi Jiang Si Shu Gun Qiao Ju Ji La Mi Gu Cai Ra Dian Jin Nang Ga Chen Le Shu Zhi Jie Ba Dang Lo Zang Dian Bie Zhi Men Sa Song Ji Zhuo Yue Min Se Da Du Nian Ju Ji Re Ra Yue Guo Yue Xin Gang Zu Pian Dang De Wa Ma Lin Zhong Yue Ne Xin Re Zi Wang Dian Zin Jia Zuo Yi Xiao Bie Si Ti Ba Du Dian Ju Ji Lin Bo Yue Ji Da Qin Bo Dang Gun Du Zang Bo Dian Yang Di Jin Di De Da Gun Ji Ji Si Dang Yu Xu Ge Wan De Da Tang Ji Ra Du Ngo Du Song Xi Bin Jia Wa Tang Jin Ji Ngo Wan Gang Na Chu Du Nga Ba De Da Xin Ge Yue Sa Wan De Gun Zhang Zang Bo Shi Ji Ra Du Ngo Wan Ji 哎呀，对不起，研究。